Hi, I'm Heather Hubbard. I went from being a lawyer and partner at one of the largest firms in America to becoming an online personality and successful entrepreneur. I know what it takes to rise to the top. I also know all too well the toll it can take on your health and personal life. So how do you shine bright without burning out? How do you chase joy while achieving success? You're listening to the Hustle and Flow podcast. Welcome back to Hustle and Flow. I am your host, Heather Hubbard, and I am back with a special bonus unplanned episode before the launch of the new format and the new podcast. Today is the Lunar New Year. It is the year of the fire horse. I am so excited about this energy and this celebration. So I thought I'm going to come back on, give you an update on the podcast, talk about really embracing this energy, this power, these bold moves, as well as some Mardi Gras lessons, because it's also Mardi Gras today. And I'm recording this today to release today. So welcome to this special episode. All right, let's start with Groundhog Day. I have all of these celebrations, like these cultural concepts, although I don't really know the cultural significance of Groundhog Day. I mean, they're just pulling out a poor groundhog out of the ground who's hibernating. It just seems really mean, actually. But the movie Groundhog Day is what I'm talking about. We actually had some groundhogs this past year, and I've always heard, they wreck your yard, and I'm sure they do for some people, but they were living in our culvert. It was a mom and two babies, and so I named them George, Georgette, and Georgina, and I fell in love with them. They were so sweet. So hopefully after their hibernation, they will come back and hang out with me this year. But the reason I feel like it is Groundhog Day is because when I put the podcast on pause in November and said, we've got a new format coming out, I thought it would happen in January. I think I even announced that. And so then, like 6 weeks later, I did another episode that said, we're behind. It's not working. I'm trying to be in flow and come do best year, best you, which, by the way, feels like a year ago. A lot's happened. A lot has happened in 2026. And so now it is 7 weeks later. And the podcast is still I'm in this loop. I'm in a groundhog loop on both the podcast and the book. And so I thought I would share a little bit about both, especially if you too are feeling like there is some area of your life where you just feel stalled. And no matter how much work and effort and energy you put into it, you feel like a hamster, like the wheel is spinning, but you're not going anywhere. So that's the Groundhog Day. Also, I brought this up the other day and my husband had no idea what I was talking about. I was like, the movie? Have you seen the movie? And he was like, no. So anyway, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm referencing the Bill Murray movie, Groundhog Day. Every day is just repeated over and over again. So you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see a little bit about what's going on. And if you're wondering, where are you? I'm in my office. This is the same space. So I painted the wall behind me, just this one wall, not all the walls. I have some new lighting. The microphone, it's the same microphone, but I have a new boom for it. So it is a little bit more modern, a little bit sleeker. It's not hanging down in the face. What I don't have, well, first off, the desk behind me, we're missing some sconces. You can see these, the white canvas. I think I'm going to collage one, paint the other. We kept moving around different paintings, artwork, and I was like, I'm just going to do my own. And then, so this is not fully set up. It still has to happen. But the big thing, and what has taken so long, is the camera. So I'm still just using my webcam, but we are moving over to a better camera. We were using the old one, and it's just things would come in. I would do the Zoom with the guy that's helping me with the podcast setup, Logan Leber, and something wouldn't be right. And so then I would have to ship one thing back and then ship another thing back. And then the ice storm in Nashville happened. And it's I everything just keeps getting delayed, really through no one's fault. It's just not getting set up properly. Like we just keep having all of these issues. So I am hopeful that this fire horse energy, which we'll talk about in a minute, is going to usher in some speed. And hopefully it's not going to be another 6 or 7 weeks for the podcast to be released. Although, well, actually, that's fine. What I'll be upset with is if in 6 or 7 weeks I'm back doing another, we still don't have it. I mean, it has been, at this point, it's been 13 weeks, and I still can't tell you when the new format's coming out. And I never would have paused for that long had I known this was going to happen. But thus is life. And I mean, that is the Groundhog Day thing, right? Like you got to control what you can and let go of the rest. So the perfectionist in me, the control freak in me, like I want movement. I want things to happen. And for whatever reason, like they're just not. So I'm having to patiently wait. Although I'm so excited about the new format. We did put up because if you were on email or social, we had you all vote on the podcast cover. So the new podcast cover is in like YouTube, not YouTube, I think like iTunes, Spotify. Oh, it's in YouTube as well. So that's up. And I'm calling it season 3. I was talking to a friend the other day, just with my frustrations with Groundhog Day, with both the book and the podcast. And I said, I've decided I'm going to call them seasons. So I launched it in 2017. And 2017 to 2020 was more or less every week. I was like, that's season 1. And then I took the break. And then I came back in, I think it was fall of 2023. And we then went until like November of 2025. I said, so that's season 2. And then the new format's coming out is season 3. And she was like, I love that. And people wait for a new season, like on Netflix, sometimes for years. And I was like, thank you for making me feel like I am as important as a binge-worthy Netflix show. So season 3, as soon as we get through post-production, will finally be coming to you. Cannot wait. Similarly with the book, it's like I would make so much progress and then there would be a different angle. And so I got so much great feedback. I was ready to go in the fall. I was like, I think I even shared that with you all. I'm like, I am about to start querying agents, like, let's go. And I then had one editor who was asking like certain areas. She was just like, this feels vague. Like what's behind this? Like, can you bring more clarity? And I was like, those are stories I don't want to share. Like I'm being vague on purpose. And it made me really just kind of sit back and say, do I want to share those stories? Like if you're going to tell the story, do you tell the whole story? And so that's required some processing, a lot of thought, kind of therapy type work. And so I'm working on a version that would tell the full truth. And I don't know if that's what will happen with it eventually, or if I'll go back to the other, but I need to, I think, fully explore it to make the best piece, the best book that I can put out there. So that too, just, it's like lots of work going into it, but just don't feel like we're making progress. Although you never really know what's happening behind the scenes. And sometimes you have to, in business, careers, life, go through a lot of iterations to get where you're going. And you couldn't actually get where you wanted to be without the iterations that felt like you were in a little bit of muck. So that's my Groundhog Day story. If you're in any of that groundhog energy, we're right there together. But hopefully they're coming out of hibernation soon, and we will too. All right, let's talk about the fire horse, because I am so excited about this. If you did Best You with me, you already know about this concept. But maybe you want the reminder. Maybe you're as into it as me and you're like, yes, let's talk about it. Maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about. So with the Lunar New Year, sometimes people call it the Chinese New Year, but it's not just the Chinese who celebrate it. So I think it's actually more encompassing to call it the Lunar New Year, although it's like the biggest holiday in China. Huge celebration. I remember when I was producing the planner and my manufacturer was in China, and you really had to prepare because like it was like it's several weeks of people going on holiday, going back and visiting their families. A very big celebration and exciting time for them. And I love anything and everything that helps me be grounded and intentional. And I try not to like misappropriate, but also enjoy and appreciate and understand where these celebrations are coming from and what they mean. And so I love numerology. I love astrology. I love the concept of the Lunar New Year. And so each year is represented by a different animal. It rotates, and then it also rotates with other elements, including like earth and wood and fire. And so this year is the year of the fire horse. And the way that it alternates, I think it ends up being like every 60 years. So really, you're only going to experience something at most twice in your lifetime. And what I find even more interesting, and I did not look up, I totally should have Googled this before I did the podcast, but now I'm going to afterwards. All right. So in numerology, you take your year and you add up the numbers, and you always come down to a single digit. So last year, 2025, was a 9-year. A 9-year is a completion year, a closure year. And then you move to a 1-year, and this is a 1-year. 1-year is all about new beginnings and new pathways, planting seeds, like moving into like rebirth. For the Lunar New Year last year, it was the wood snake. And that's all about shedding. It's about letting go. It's also kind of about that rebirth. It's like shedding the old skin so that you can embrace a new skin. And this is what I didn't Google that I would love to know. When was the last time you had both a snake year and a 9-year at the same time? Because they represent in so many ways the same thing. So for me, that makes it even more powerful that they're combined. So now we're in this 1-year. We're moving into fire horse energy. I've always loved horses. I've been obsessed with horses. I'm thinking about pulling out. I still have a lot of Breyer horses. I used to collect them and play with them growing up. I was like, I'm totally going to light a fire. I'm going to pull out all of my Breyer's horses and maybe light a candle, get my crystals out. I've got my obsidian. I learned that from Ray Jesse at Miraval, where I do my retreats about like really releasing negative energy into the obsidian. Like I love all the things. And normally I do an annual tarot reading for myself. Sometimes I do it for the month. Sometimes I do it with each new moon. And I didn't feel like energetically, it just didn't feel right at the beginning of this year. And I decided, I was like, no, I'm going to wait until the Lunar New Year. And I'm so ready. So that's what I'm doing this afternoon. If you're listening to this today, I highly encourage you to do some kind of ritual. Like, even if you're like, I don't even know what this is, just set some kind of intention, release something intentionally and embrace something intentionally. When I used to teach CLE, which is continuing legal education to lawyers. And I had a CLE on meditation. And I used to teach the concept of mudras. And mudras are more or less using like your fingers or some other tactile thing to establish an intention. And so your fingers represent different concepts. And so if you were wanting to focus on communication or peace, right, like you would have a different mudra. And I would share because like these are the most skeptical people on earth. And I would share in advance because I knew that they were going to be like, this woman is a quack. I would share because Western culture, like we're just, especially intellectuals, you know, male dominated professions, we're just not open to these concepts. And I was like, here's the deal. You don't have to believe it's true. Like you don't have to believe that one finger actually represents that thing. You don't actually have to believe that when you meditate and hold that mudra, that it is doing something. What I want you to know, though, is it still represents an intention. And we do know from a Western perspective, if that's the science that we want to accept, we do know that the brain is so powerful. And we know that a placebo effect can be really powerful. I don't care if it's true or a placebo. It can be either. As long as it works, I don't care why it works. So I used to always encourage them, like, if you are wanting to do something, have the intention and allow it. If it ends up helping you, great. If it doesn't, stop doing it. But if you're open, it generally will, because you're just telling your brain to focus on something in particular. So for me, the Lunar New Year, numerology, all of that, it just gives me one more tool, one more modality to be really intentional with my own life. It allows me to be really intentional about letting go with that wood snake and that 9-year, and really intentional about embracing this fire horse and this one that is all about renewed energy, renewed passion, freedom, adventure. And although the horse is still in a herd, right? So it's not like independence, going out on your own and not having that community around you, but it's about both. It's about both. And it's just, for me personally, it feels like such beautiful energy in the world we're living in. I need that. After everything I came through, I need that. We've all gone through something with the pandemic and everything else. So if you're needing some of that like fresh energy as well, use this day, use this time to really set that intention that you are letting certain things go and you're embracing this new spirit, these new beginnings, and do whatever you want. Like I said, I'm getting out my Briar's horses. I'm going to light a fire, and I'm doing my annual tarot for the year. This is also a great time, since it is the Lunar New Year, to treat it just like the new year in terms of setting goals. So if you're behind on that, maybe you never set your goals, now is a great time to do it. If you set them, but you've kind of like fallen off, this is a great time to get reset and say, you know what? I had great intentions at the beginning of the new year. Life happened, and now I'm back 6-7 weeks later, and I'm gonna lean back in. I'm really gonna start new, because it's another new year. It's the Lunar New Year, and Goals Reimagined it's what I've been teaching this for years. It's had different names, but it's my entire planning process that really helps you set the right goals for the right reasons. And I sold that after Best Year, Best You. It will eventually, there's going to be a part of the website that has courses. It's stuff that I've always had, but I'm putting them into digital courses for a much cheaper price. And I sold that, but it's not on the website yet. So if you're like, I actually need that now, I did not get it before, I need it now, just reach out to us, support@heatherjoyhubbard.com, and we can get it to you. It's $2.97. You go at your own pace. You've got it for life. But I really didn't come on here to promote that, but it is a great way to be intentional about the goal setting. If you're like, no, I'm ready. I'm ready for a fresh start. I am. Like, I cannot wait. So speaking of, all right, so we talked about Groundhog Day, we talked about the fire horse. Now let's talk about Mardi Gras, because it's Fat Tuesday. It's Mardi Gras. I think technically Mardi Gras encompasses like an entire season. I don't know if it also is a specific day. This is, I was in New Orleans in January with my all-in mastermind, and we had a blast. It was so much fun. The city, they were starting, I think the first parade that weekend was probably a month ago. And the city was already decorating everything, like our hotel, they were putting everything out. And the vibe is just so fun. And one of the activities that we did, we were doing our entire strategy for the year. And so everybody was working through that. And, I'm big into experiences. I think we learn through experience. So we went to the World of Mardi Gras, which is this huge warehouse where they work on the floats. It was incredible, like the size of these things and the fact that they work on it all year long. So they will have a parade, and literally the next day that crew starts planning for the next year. Now, World of Mardi Gras, they're a company. They employ all of these artists, which is really, really cool. But the cruise, it's all nonprofit, and it's just to celebrate. It's just about community. Like, there's spectacle to it, there are gifts to it, but it's about bringing together the community in a fun, festive way. People dress up. There's, fabulous music and food and, the beads. And a lot of times, people think of Mardi Gras like Bourbon Street and like the debauchery. But the city itself and all of these different neighborhoods, they have all of these parades and activities, and it's really, really beautiful. And one of the things I just love a good celebration, and I love when a culture embraces something, a community embraces something, neighborhoods embrace something. And I think, right, we just need that now more than ever. We need that community. And one of the things that I took away from visiting the world of Mardi Gras was that big things take time. Big things take time. And like these parade, like it's one day. It's one day. They build floats for an entire year for one day. And it's worth it. It is totally worth it to experience the joy and the fun. And so for me, I have carried that energy with me. And if you need to hear that as well, it's helped me, I think, with the podcast and the book and these visions that I have that I would love to come to life tomorrow. Like, I just want them to happen now, immediately. And just knowing that beautiful, joyful, grand, spectacular things, they take time. They don't happen overnight. And so really just having that vision, surrounding yourself with others, they don't do it on their own. They've got community around them. It takes a whole village to pull it off. And that even once you get it done, like it's never like you reach the pinnacle, like that's the goal and you're done. No, then you get to move on to the next thing, which reminds me a lot of kind of just what I try to embrace with the concept of the joy is in the journey and making each moment enjoyable as opposed to just like aiming for this one thing and that then being the, end all be all, because it never is. And so it's not about achieving one thing. It's really about just building that community and experiencing joy each step of the way. So that's the energy I'm embracing. That's the energy I am in. And my word for the year is connection. So I have been trying to reconnect with so many people. I've planned my entire year around it. It's one of the reasons why I think I feel like I'm missing the podcast is that was a form of connection for me and it's not been going on, but I'm hosting more live events than I have. Oh my gosh, maybe I'm like ever? Is it ever? I don't know. So, if you're wanting to hang out, if you want to be in community, I've got a lot of really cool things coming up. I know some of you are on my email, so you might know about it. But if you're not and you just listen to the podcast, I've been away for like 13 weeks, so you may not know. One is in April. I am hosting a law firm alumni one-day mastermind. So we're going to have cocktails and really just have a fun time getting together and reconnecting on Thursday night. And then Friday, I think it's the 24th and 25th in April. And then on Friday, we are having a full day workshop. It's advanced business development. It's really working on auditing and refining strategies for growing your law practice. You do have to be in a law firm. You do have to be working on a law practice. It is exclusively for that. It's invite only because it's alumni, but also I've been like pulling data for over a decade and trying to put them together. A lot of people have moved. Some people are back in law and I don't know that. So if you've ever worked with me and you were a lawyer and you are in a law firm now and you have a book of business, you're building a book of business, you're invited. I just didn't know to invite you. I may not have your contact information. So reach out. We'll get you that invite. And then in July, I will be in Banff, Canada, which is one of my favorite places on earth. It's just so gorgeous. My husband and I love going there. And this one is a family-friendly event. It's for my All-In Mastermind. And that was the same group that I was with in January. We are opening up, I think, 3 more spots for 3 people to come in. That is not a law firm practice. That is if you are building more like a side hustle or you're a full-time, like new entrepreneur. Right now, everyone who's in there, they are lawyers doing non-law things, but you don't have to be a lawyer to be in that group. But we're not working on law firms, and you can't come in just wanting to talk about legal things. It is open to any and all professionals that are building these side businesses. One person is working on like consulting and mentorship. One is doing events. Another is doing events and speaking. One is doing YouTube videos. Another person is doing, it's kind of like limited representation, access to justice issue. Another is doing workshops and consult. So anyway, it's things, and they still have their practices. They're just building on and adding something new. So if you're interested in that, you can learn more and apply. The next group gets to come in starting in May. You can learn more about that and apply at heatherjoyhubbard.com/mastermind. And so that's in July, end of July. And then in September, end of September, 1st of October, I will be back at Miraval in Tucson. And I will be hosting another joint retreat. So one is Joy in the Journey for people who have not gone through that particular retreat. And then the other is my Happy, Healthy, Wealthy alumni group. And to be alumni, you have to have gone through Joy in the Journey. You can't, if you went to Miraval with me, but not Joy in the Journey, that was separate. It was different. It's got a little bit of a different flavor. So you got to go back through that. But you can get those tickets. I'll be promoting Joy in the Journey at the end of the Get It Done Challenge in April. So if you know you've been wanting to come, there's limited spots. You can go ahead and sign up for that now and get first in line before I actually start promoting that in mid-April. And that is at heatherjoyhubbard.com/joy in the journey. And I'll put all of this in the show notes. And then those are the live events, April, July, and September. And then I'm also doing my power hours and business briefs. I do, I think, like 2 of those a month, 2 to 3 of those a month. Check it out. I'm like having so much fun working with people one-on-one again. The power hour is one-off, like you just want one-off support, one-off advice. You don't want to invest long-term. And then the business brief is where you do your growth accelerator digital work, which is all about business development. And then we meet, and then I kind of come up with a strategy and plan for you, assuming you agree with it. Like we work through that together, and then I document everything and provide you your plan. I've been having so much fun doing those. So like I said, my word for the year is connection. I cannot wait to connect again with the new podcast format. But if you know you'd like to work with me, go ahead and check all of that stuff out. Either reach out, go to the website, and hopefully I'll be back soon. Go do something to celebrate and be intentional with the Fire Horse and Mardi Gras. So good to see you. And I cannot wait to be back with you every week, hopefully really, really soon.
Thank you so much for joining me for this week's podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, give the episode a like and leave a comment below so we can keep the conversation going. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a future episode or announcement. Listening on Apple, Spotify, or another podcast app, you can watch the video and join in the after-show conversation by visiting hustleandflowpodcast.com.